Look at that beautiful coat. Beautiful. Hello and welcome back to Feldpost Sunday, here on the World War II History and Reenacting YouTube channel. Well, you guys have been requesting more episodes, and personally, I do miss making them. So, without any further ado, let's see if there's any Feldpost. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Alright, wir haben Feldpost. So what do we have here? Looks like some dishwashing detergent. That's nice. And we have a letter. There we are. Empty. We have Feldpost. Feldpost. Nice. So this is a blank Feldpost card. You would write your name here, followed by your military regiment and company, etc. And then scribble down your letter here. On this side, you would write the recipient's name and address. And on the reverse we have, or if this is the reverse or the front, I'm not sure what you consider it to be, but on the back here we have a song. Die Gulaschkanone. The song is about the goulash cannon, or field kitchen, and is based on a very old German folk song, Die Lore am Tore. And this song uses the same melody. This cover version was apparently written by Landsturmmann Gustav Davids from the 12th Company of Landwehr Infanterieregiment 61. The song is a completely altered version of the original, and it romanticizes the field kitchen both during peacetime and in war, and depicts how it's the best cannon in the army. I would assume that this field postcard dates all the way back to the First World War, and is quite a unique piece. There are a few field kitchen ballads, but I've never heard about this particular one before. That's really cool. If you're a regular viewer, I do apologize. All this field kitchen memorabilia, but what can I do? So let's check out this Sun Max Power dishwashing detergent and see what's inside here. See if it's any good. Where can I open this? Let's go in here. There we go. So, put in the comments what you think it is. Ooh, I can smell that already. Yeah, I know what that is. Oh yes. These 4 soft packs with German pipe tobacco from the well-known and famous Martin Brinkmann company are a nice addition to the collection, but unfortunately I don't know much about this stuff. They're full, smell really much like tobacco. These packs of Brinkmann Stolz are apparently quite rare, and very few must have survived to this day, as there are very few examples and little information to be found. They are a variant of fine-cut pipe tobacco within the large selection of various cuts and brand trade names from the Martin Brinkmann tobacco factory in Bremen, Germany, one of Europe's largest tobacco companies at the time. The packs are made from medium weight card stock with a natural tan waxed paper cover with black and red colored print. They measure roughly 9 centimeters tall, 7 centimeters wide, and 4 centimeters thick, and still contain the original contents: 50 grams of loose fine cut Oriental pipe tobacco, intended for short pipes. As the name suggests, Oriental tobacco is native to the Mediterranean region between Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria, and the tobacco is known for its balanced composition. The packages themselves are in overall good condition, but appear to be missing the tax ban seal. Why the tax seals are missing is a mystery to me. Were they simply removed? Did they fall off? Or could it be that these packs, for some reason, did not have any? I don't know. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. The front features a pleasing red and black color design with a wonderful motif featuring an old man, perhaps in some sort of traditional clothing, with a hat, shirt, scarf, high-waist trousers with suspenders, and wooden shoes, or clogs, smoking a pipe. On the top we see the brand variant, Brinkmann's Stolz. There is a red MB logo that connects neatly with the red colored outline of the man, which is a nice design feature. At the bottom is a red colored section that wraps around the entire pack with Brinkmann Tabak in black letters. On both sides we have the Martin Brinkmann logo, MB, followed by Steuerbegünstiger Feinschnitt, which is like a tax break or taxed favored fine cut tobacco, I think. We can see that the pack contains 50 grams of tobacco and states that it's intended for smoking with a short pipe. Looking at the back of the pack, it states that this is an especially longer and milder blend, finely cut with Orient tobacco. We have another MB logo, Brinkmann Tabak, and something something immer, or always. It's kind of hard to make out. At the bottom we have the MB logo again, and the tobacco variant, Brinkmann's Stolz. Open here. On the top we find instructions on where to open the pack. I had a hard time locating a good source of information regarding German period tobacco, especially with regards to the Brinkmann Stolz variant. But after some digging, I eventually found something. My research is at this time inconclusive at best, but it's a start. With the lack of available written material, I have based my information on old receipts and price lists from the Martin Brinkmann Tobacco Company. With regards to the shape, design and motif, I have to refer to the yearly factory price and assortment catalogs. And by looking at the 1936 and 39 edition of the catalog, which were the only two I was able to find, the Brinkmann Stolz variant appears identical in shape and design to my 4 packs. So, one could assume that this was how a pack of Brinkmann Stolz looked like, at least within these 2 years. That is, if they didn't change the design and either forgot or didn't bother updating the catalog product stencil. If the initial construction, design, shape and motif was the same, or if the packs evolved or changed throughout the years, especially with regards to the use of color, is uncertain. But at least we can assume that my 4 packs are probably mid to late 1930s or early 40s production. In what year, date and time the Brinkmann Stolz was first introduced on the market and when the production later ceased, I have not been able to pinpoint yet. But based on the contents of the very few receipts and price lists I was able to source, the first mention of this particular product dates back as early as 1929. The newest receipt I was able to find, featuring the Brinkmann Stolz variant, was dated mid-September 1942, so at least we know that they were still available and probably also manufactured at this time. During my brief research on the subject, I also stumbled upon something interesting. Another similar pack of Martin Brinkmann's loose pipe tobacco blends, the Tip Top Feiner Leichter Krüll, which I believe to be a medium-cut tobacco used with short and medium pipes, has an interesting statement on the pack. It states that the production of their well-known fine-cut varieties of tobacco has been discontinued until further notice, and to ensure and maintain the high-quality standards during war, only the tip-top variant will be available for the time being. In what year this statement and change in production was made, I have not been able to find out, but based on the previously mentioned receipt, it's probably after the 15th of September 1942, and my assumption is that this change was implemented sometime in 1943 or 44. I don't know much about this stuff, so please correct me if I'm wrong, and please feel free to share your knowledge on the subject in the comment section if you have additional or a good source of information. That would be much appreciated. So allegedly these were found here in Norway in a house located close to where the Tirpitz, the Schlagschiffe or the battleship Tirpitz was anchored. So highly likely that this is something from the Tirpitz, or that was meant to be on the Tirpitz, perhaps. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's put this over here. Alright. You thought that was it? I'm not so sure. I might have some more stuff. Ooh! Yes! This is not an unboxing technically, but I picked this up recently at a local antique shop. And they were on sale, 50%. I got them for €3. This type of lightweight Y-strap were generally issued to both the Luftwaffe, Kriegsmarine and the cavalry of the Heer. In February 1940, the German army introduced a new pattern of combat Y-straps based on a pre-World War I design that were initially intended for mounted personnel, designated as belt support straps for cavalry. The Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine also decided to adopt this second type of combat Y-straps, and the straps were redesignated as Trageriemen für Patronentaschen, support straps for the cartridge pouches. In the Luftwaffe Sollbuch, it's designated only as Trageriemen. These are in near mint condition, beautiful condition, with the leather still being nice and supple. They consist of 2 adjustable front straps and a shorter adjustable back strap, made from smooth blackened leather with natural alloy hooks and a painted steel connection ring. And based on the condition of the stitching, I think it's safe to assume that the leather was blackened at the factory before assembly. And they are dated 1942. There's a maker's mark here, but it's hard to make out. Note the leather protection piece on the rear hook. Here is a closer look at the hooks and how they connect to the D-rings on the ammo pouches or belt loops. €3. Cool. At the time of publishing this video, the retail price of lightweight Y-straps in similar condition range anywhere from $200 to $500. So that's a bargain in my opinion. Very nice. Let's put these over here. We can make a comeback on Feldpost Sunday and unbox some tobacco and a Feldpost letter. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, we have a Feldpost. I think we have to take out one at a time, don't you? Agree? All right. Nope, that's not a new camcorder, but that would be nice. Let's see what's in this box. Very nicely packaged, taped up. See, there's no Nothing we can destroy here. We have some styrofoam. Styrofoam. Yeah, look at that packing. Nice. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Yes. Very nicely packed. Very nicely packed. So, what do you think is in this box? If you want to guess, leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll see if you're right. We have white gold with styrofoam on it. Yes. Kantinegeschirr. Look at that. Look at that. That's a beauty. Let's see what else we have in here. Haha! We have another one. More white gold. These are in beautiful condition. And we have another one. Really nice. You think there's anything else? Think there's more? And we have a fourth one. Wow. More white gold. We like white gold. Alright. So, what do we have here? 4 deep plates from 1935. Beautiful porcelain, military porcelain with the Weimar eagle. This is pre-war porcelain. They're all dated 1935 and all from the... not all from the same manufacturer actually. Now let's take a closer look at these beautiful porcelain soup plates. These plates were manufactured for the German armed forces with this type of eagle during the time of the Reichswehr, within the period of the Weimar Republic, but also continued well into the transitional period of the Third Reich, alongside the new line of Wehrmacht acceptance stamp markings. Reichswehr was the official name of the German armed forces during the Weimar Republic from 1919 until 1933, and the first years of the Third Reich until 1935. A distinction was made between the Army, Navy and Air Force, and each branch of service had its own acceptance stamp. The symbols of the Wehrmacht branches were introduced in 1935, and in the beginning, with the exception of the Luftwaffe, the Weimar eagle continued to be used as an acceptance stamp way up until 1937-38, possibly even longer. This plate features a nice, large, off-centered Reichswehr eagle, basically a variant of the Reichsadler from the era of the Weimar Republic, from 1918 until 1933. More specifically, this eagle belonged to the Reichsheer, or the army, while the otherwise identical Navy eagle variant had an additional capital letter M below the eagle, denoting Marine, or Navy. This particular example was manufactured by Heinrich & Co. and is dated 1935. Franz Heinrich started his porcelain painting company in Selb, Bavaria in 1896. Initially, Heinrich bought whiteware from other local porcelain factories, but in 1901 he began manufacturing his own. Under his leadership, the Porzellanfabrik Heinrich Selb developed into one of the most important manufacturers in Germany. Franz Heinrich died in 1928. In 1929, it became Heinrich & Co., and in the 1930s, there were 500 employees working at the Heinrich factory. After the Second World War, Heinrich was the first porcelain producer in West Germany to resume production. The second plate is in similar condition and practically identical to the first one. It features the same nice, big, off-centered eagle and was also manufactured by Heinrich & Co. in 1935. The company continued to manufacture tableware for the German armed forces into the Third Reich era. Here is an example from 1940, featuring a property stamp and eagle from the Luftwaffe. The next plate is another nice one, but from a different manufacturer from the same city, and was also manufactured in 1935. It's nicely marked and features a nice, large, centered eagle. This plate was also made in Selb in Bavaria, but by a different manufacturer, Hütchenreuter. In 1857, Lorenz Hütchenreuter established a porcelain factory in Selb and was named Porzellanfabriken Lorenz Hütchenreuter AG Selb. The last and final plate is another 1935 dated Hütchenreuter, again with a nice centered eagle, clear maker's mark and year of production. I would say they're pretty nice, in nice condition. They've been used. They show the natural wear. No chips or marks or anything. Just some slight wear and use. But what you expect for something that's dated 1935 and it's probably been in the military until 1945. So that's not bad at all. It probably was also used after the war, most certainly. And some really high quality. I put these over here. It's starting to look like something. I love this. This is great. All right, let's see if we have anything else. Bear with me on this one. Something. It's been manhandled in the post. The postman had a bad day. Let's see what's in here. Want to guess on this one as well? What you think it is? Leave it in the comments below. This is really manhandled. Ooh! Oh yes! I see what this is. You want to see? We have something nice here. Oh yes! Yes! Beautiful. Let's get this out of the way. Oops. We have a beautiful Norwegian military uniform. You guys that have been following this series have probably seen this before, or not this one, but something similar. This is a Norwegian 1934 pattern service tunic specifically for a soldier attending the non-commissioned officer school. The tunic is made from beautiful dark greenish field grey wool and features a vertical 6-button front closure with a pair of small metal hooks and eyes positioned at the forward neckline on the stand and fall collar. We're missing a hook here. The tunic has 4 pleated front pockets with scalloped button-down flaps. Each breast pocket has a set of 2 additional small hidden snap buttons, one at each outer point of the flap, securing them in place and keeping them looking neat and flat. A beautiful shade of green colored piping runs around the outer edge of the collar, as well as on the iconic pointed scalloped sleeve cuffs. The grey oxidized buttons are embossed with the Norwegian lion and have no maker's mark on the reverse. There are 6 buttons in the front, 4 smaller on the pockets and 2 more for the shoulder boards. There is also 2 additional large buttons on the back of the tunic. Inside the collar are 3 brass studs to accommodate a collar band. The interior of the tunic, as well as the sleeves, are fully lined with a beautiful rayon-type fabric. The non-commissioned officer school uniform was basically identical to the officer tunic in every way, with the exception of one minor detail: a pair of shoulder board loops with corresponding buttons. The shoulder boards were pointed and made from the same field grey material as the tunic, with green colored rank dress to the outer edge and the letter S in the center, denoting school. The idea was that the tunic could later easily be converted to an NCO or officer's tunic post-graduation by simply removing the loops and the buttons. When compared to the enlisted man's field blouse, It's very similar to the officers' and NCO's school tunic. The wool cloth used is from coarser quality wool. There is no green piping around the collar and sleeves, and no buttons in the back. It's also cut slightly larger to make room for additional warm clothing to be worn underneath. Similar to the NCO tunic, the enlisted man's field blouse also featured a pair of shoulder board loops and buttons, but they were only utilized for walking out dress or while on leave. For such occasions, a pair of plain field grey pointed shoulder boards with green piping was worn. These uniforms are so beautiful. It's my favorite uniform out of all uniforms. The 1934 Norwegian Feldpost. A beautiful, I love these uniforms. Beautiful uniform. Really nice condition. These are so beautiful. Beautiful piece. How are we gonna arrange this? Let's put that over here. We'll sneak this over there. All right, let's see if there's more. I believe there's something else in here. Yep, there's something in here. Perfect. What is it? It's something soft. So, what do you guys think it is? Again, if you want to guess, put it in the comments below. We have... It's a uniform of some sort. Oh yes. Look at that. Look at that. This wonderful overcoat is both named and dated, and once belonged to a gentleman named Samuel Newland. Oh yes. We have another Norwegian uniform. Or this is a coat. A mantle. A Norwegian uniform. There is some mothing here. I'll have to stick this into the freezer for a few weeks and just to make sure there's nothing dangerous living inside it. It's a beautiful coat. Samuel was born on the 10th of September in 1984 and grew up on a farm near the small town of Flekkefjord in Norway. He became an officer's cadet in 1913 and graduated 3 years later in 1916 at the age of 21. He was promoted to the rank of Premier Lieutenant, equivalent to First Lieutenant, and appointed to the infantry, effective from the 1st of April the same year. He first served in the infantry, in the 3rd Brigade here in the south of Norway, but from October 1st, 1916, he was transferred and served in the fortress artillery at Agdenes Befestninger, or Agdenes Fortifications, a group of coastal artillery forts located in the central part of the country, built to defend the inlet to the Trondheimsfjord, Norway's 3rd longest fjord at 130 kilometers. Then on the 1st of March 1919, he was again transferred back to the south of Norway and served in the 3rd Brigade in Agdesidenes Infantry Regiment No. 7 until 1925. On the 16th of October 1925, he was appointed to the Indentatur, or Quartermaster Staff of the 1st Division District, with headquarters in Halden, in the eastern part of Norway. Then, on the 17th of October 1939, Samuel was promoted to captain and appointed a position in the Generalindentatur, or General Quartermaster's Administration Staff of the Norwegian Army, and was put in command of the Clothing and Equipment Office. I'm not entirely sure what the Norwegian Army Indentatur or the Generalintendant is in English, but I believe that the Wehrmacht had a similar structure. The Norwegian Quartermaster's Corps is the professional authority within the military that arranges foodstuffs, clothing, certain types of equipment, fuel, as well as quarters and office supplies. I've chosen to use the term quartermaster, so please correct me if I'm wrong. The General Quartermaster's staff was mobilized in the early morning on the 9th of April 1940, as the German armed forces launched their surprise attack on Norway. The general staff were ordered to pack up and relocate further inland towards Eidsvoll, and at around 6 o'clock that same evening, the General Quartermaster's staff were gathered at the small town in the Eidsvoll Gymnasium school building, except for 2 officers. In the confusion, chaos, and first and foremost due to communication difficulties with dynamic and changing information, orders and directions did not reach Captain Nuland and a fellow officer from the General Quartermaster's staff. They were captured and taken prisoner by the German armed forces near Hamar during the night sometime between the 9th and 10th of April while looking for their unit. This coat has followed Captain Nuland throughout his entire military career, and it's highly likely that he wore this coat when he was captured by the Germans in Hamar due to the cold weather conditions in April 1940, which makes this an extra interesting piece of Militaria. The coat, together with additional uniforms, headwear and field gear, was purchased directly from the family by a fellow collector a few years ago. Unfortunately, I was only able to get my hands on his coat for the time being, but hopefully I will eventually be able to obtain the other items down the line. This is a beautiful private purchase, full-length double-breasted 1894 pattern overcoat, made from fine greyish field grey or rather a stone grey doeskin wool of the highest quality. It features dual rows of 6 buttons in a tapered V-shaped configuration, with corresponding buttonholes on both the left and right front panels. The buttons feature the embossed Norwegian lion and has a maker's mark on the reverse. The coat has wonderful deep red colored piping around the collar, cuffs and the half-waist backstrap. The lay-down collar has a metal hook and eye at the forward neckline, and also features an additional strap and corresponding buttons on the reverse for buttoning up the collar in extreme or cold weather. On the shoulders we find a pair of sewn-in shoulder boards, each with 3 oxidized stars sewn in place denoting the rank of captain. The boards are secured with a smaller set of oxidized line buttons from the same manufacturer. The coat has 2 hip pockets with flaps at the waistline. The left waist pocket features both an internal pocket as well as a slit to access the tunic underneath. Only the left pocket and slit access is reinforced with sheepskin. The sleeves features real French cuffs. The coat is fully lined in a beautiful light rayon type fabric, which is in fairly good condition. Inside we find an internal breast pocket, and on the inside there is a tailor's label from a Norwegian tailor company, Otto Hassem, from Oslo. And this is where our investigation about the owner and the history of this coat can begin. We can see that it's dated 1st of March 1916, and we know that Samuel graduated from officer school in March 1916 and was promoted to Premierleutnant or First Lieutenant. And I believe the label reads something like Lieutenant Nuland, so we can assume that Samuel bought this coat following his graduation as a newly promoted First Lieutenant in 1916. That brings us to another interesting observation. My guess is that the coat was at some point handed in to be partially upgraded, perhaps even more than once. Following the new uniform regulations in 1934, old pattern uniforms were to be modified to meet the new uniform regulations. But the transition deadline for old spec uniforms was constantly postponed and was not even in full effect by the time of the German invasion of Norway in April 1940. The buttons would most likely have been in a silver grey originally and were probably changed at some point post-1934 or removed, oxidized and reapplied to meet the new regulations. If they were changed, they were at least supplied by the same tailor who originally supplied the coat, Otto Hassem. Another interesting observation I made during my initial inspection of the garment was that the piping on the collar had a different color shade compared to the other overall piping, and it was also made from a different material. It appears that the piping on the collar was changed at some point, most likely when he was appointed a position within the indentatur, or quartermaster's unit, in the 1st Division in 1925. The 1894 officer's coat was initially intended, and was still used, together with the dark 1894 uniform, up until 1940. But it was also used together with the various models of field grey uniforms in its original configuration, and later with or without the 1934 pattern modifications. One thing to note about the field grey 1894 officer pattern coat was that prior to 1934, the piping on the collar deviated from the regular standard red uniform piping that had nothing to do with the branch of service, to actually denote the branch of service, with addition to the buttons, which normally denote the branch of service. I know, it's confusing, right? The piping color was the same as on the dark 1894 uniform, with regular deep red color denoting generals, general staff, infantry, officers' school, and the King's Guard, while crimson red denoted cavalry, artillery, indentatur, or quartermasters, and the baggage-trained troops, and light blue for the engineer or pioneer corps, and rose madder red for medical personnel. This might explain the crimson red colored wool piping denoting quartermaster's personnel that appears to have been added later on, perhaps in 1925, with his transition into the quartermaster's troops, or it was added as late as 1939 when he was appointed to the General Quartermaster's Administration staff. The stars on the shoulder boards are all matching and seem to be applied with the same thread. Perhaps they were all applied in 1939 when he was promoted to captain and received his 3rd star. This is a very interesting coat with so much history, both within the seams and fabric, but also in the history surrounding it. There is some slight mothing, as well as some natural dirt and wear here and there. It's a little bit sad with regards to the moth damage, but sometimes one cannot be picky. Not in this case, anyway. A piece of rare local military history is always worth it, in my personal opinion. Alright, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. And remember to like, comment and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Oh, I love my job.